I grew up masturbating to porn every single day, and now I've completely stopped. Hey guys, I'm Alex Grendi, a men's sex coach here to help you overcome performance anxiety in the bedroom and become the best lover you can be. In today's video, I'm going to talk about porn addiction and how you can stop masturbating to porn today. My experience of masturbation always used to include pornography. So whether that was high school, college, and then many years into my 20s after that, that was my experience. That is how I masturbated. Masturbating to porn has become so normal and common among men, at least the men that I'm exposed to, that this is really the only way that we're experiencing pleasure on our own during self-pleasure, during masturbation. It tends to always include porn. And this is because that's our experience. We just don't know any other way. You know, we tried it that way when we were younger. It worked, we liked it, you know, we got to look at fantasies and see things that turned us on. So of course that became part of that habit. When you've never really experienced any other way, I can understand why as young, impressionable men, we pick up this habit and we think, oh, porn is an amazing complement to masturbation. And when we talk about porn addiction, I think addiction is a really harsh word to use here. I mean, it is completely normal and common to grow up watching porn. I never identified as someone who was addicted to porn, and it was something that I was watching every night or every time that I masturbated. So as much as it was a regular habit for me and part of my masturbation routine, it's not something that I would say, oh, I was addicted to porn. No, I really wouldn't use that term. And I think addiction is a really negative word to use when you're just talking about a habit. And I think using porn during masturbation can be a habit, and it can be a negative habit for sure. But addiction makes you think of like, oh my God, I need porn, and if I don't get porn, I'm gonna freak out. And you know, that's definitely not my experience. I think, you know, of course that's possible for some people in extreme cases, but most of the men that I know, they kind of think they're addicted to porn, but they're not actually addicted. That's just the way that they've always experienced porn, and the way they've always experienced masturbation was always with porn. So it's just been a habit that's kind of ingrained in their lifestyle and in their routine, but it's not necessarily, in most cases, an addiction. If you are letting porn get in the way of your life and you're skipping meetings at work because you're watching porn and you're missing different obligations in your life because of this habit, then yes, I would consider that towards the end of an addiction where it's really impacting parts of your life and getting in the way of doing what you want to do or doing what you're supposed to do in your life. So this is something to be mindful of and really just check in. For me, I was using porn and masturbation as a distraction, but I wasn't, you know, letting it get in the way of all of my obligations, whether that was schoolwork, you know, I still got all of my stuff in on time. But if you're letting it impact your life negatively and it's starting to ripple in and you're choosing porn over all of these important things in your life, then that is definitely something that I would consider is more closer to that addictive side, and definitely seek help for that. If you're more like me and you feel like, yes, you've been using porn as a distraction, you've been using porn during masturbation basically your whole life, I just want to share that that is really common. And I don't want to shame you for that. That is pretty normal in this day and age. We're exposed to porn at such a young age these days with the internet and everything. So it's completely normal, and it's not something that you should be ashamed of or feel guilty about. There are, in my opinion, better ways to experience pleasure, but if this is where you're at in this moment in time, you do not have to feel bad. You don't have to think you're a bad person because you watch porn and masturbate to porn. That is totally okay. And if you are looking for ways to stop masturbating to porn, then stay around because I'll be sharing how you can stop masturbating to porn. So mainstream porn, in my opinion, does have a lot of negative impacts that I didn't really realize were happening, but on a subconscious level, I was absorbing and thinking and being impressioned in a certain way. Like, porn does depict women as the object of man's pleasure. And that's, of course, a really messed up way to view sex and intimacy, thinking that women are supposed to do whatever a man wants and it's all about male pleasure and male ejaculation. So that was something that once I kind of realized, it was like, whoa, yeah, the way these women are being treated in porn, this is not the way that I want to experience sex. This is not the way that I believe you can have the most connected and beautiful sex. So there was definitely some unlearning to do there. And in addition to that, another really important factor for me was me comparing myself to male porn stars who have these massive penises, you know, like foot-long penises, and growing up thinking that, whoa, I don't have a penis like that. Like, I must not be good enough. I must be inadequate. And this had a huge impact on me and my sex life in terms of performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation. So there are a lot of different factors in porn that can negatively impact your sex life. And that's certainly an experience that I had for me. And once I stopped watching porn and learn some new modalities of how I can connect deeper to my body, then I started to experience pleasure in such a beautiful way. I was able to release a lot of this shame and guilt, and yeah, it just changed everything, really. So if you're looking to stop using porn, one of the first things that you can do is really observe and notice all of those times you have this urge to go and masturbate or go and watch porn. Like, what is actually coming up in your body, in your mind, in your heart, and really check in with yourself every time you get that urge. Like I said, this is usually a distraction for not dealing with something that's important to us in our lives. So, you know, maybe we have a big, work obligation or a test we're studying for, or something difficult that we don't want to do. We'll kind of think of any distraction, and usually we'll go for sex, drugs, or alcohol. So if you think, wow, I really need to do my taxes, or I really have to, call my father or do something for work or get this presentation done, and the first thing that comes to mind is like, ooh, I want to go masturbate. I want to go watch porn. I want to go escape. I want to run away. It's really important to check in with yourself and see what is underneath that. What am I running away from? And when you can start to unearth some of these things, these distractions, then you can change this pattern. So that is the first step, is really identifying what are you running away from in your life that is having you go and escape through porn and masturbation. So my advice to you would be to, every single time you get that urge to go masturbate or go watch porn, write down, journal, and check in with yourself. What is the reason that I want to do this? What am I really running away from? What is something that I don't want to deal with right now that is making me want to escape? Once we do realize that we are using porn and masturbation as a way to escape from something, to try and just feel pleasure and not deal with something that is maybe an uncomfortable emotion, maybe some pain, discomfort. So we're seeking out that pleasure and that ejaculation and euphoria to not feel those other emotions. So one of the most important things about breaking this habit and stopping watching porn is to be able to, once you identify, oh, I really want to go watch porn, how can we replace that habit with another habit that really makes you feel good as well? So replacing this habit of porn that makes you feel pleasure with another habit that makes you feel pleasure. So for me, if I know I'm running away from something, the first thing to do would be to check in and be like, okay, I need to prioritize whatever I'm running from, so then I'll make a plan. This is when I'm gonna do that. If I am still looking to replace that, pleasure from masturbation or porn, then I want to replace it with something that also makes me happy. And that doesn't mean something, that could possibly be destructive, as like, I'm gonna go eat a chocolate cake or do something that is unhealthy and kind of toxic for me. Instead, I like to replace it with something that is super fun, like surfing or skateboarding or going for a workout or a run, doing something active, taking a walk. These are ways for me to really feel good about exchanging that habit and being like, okay, I just need to kind of walk this off. You know, I need to just go for a run and reset and be able to feel good about myself that like, okay, wow, I just did something, you know, that's really healthy for me, something that's really made me feel good about myself, and now I can come back and do whatever task I was supposed to do. Deal with whatever emotion I wasn't trying to deal with. And for me, this is the healthiest way to kind of break a negative habit or a bad habit, and that is replacing it with something that makes you feel good about yourself. Another little trick that I use to try and break a habit is to do 10 push-ups every time I have that impulse or thought to go and do whatever the thing is. So if it is to watch porn or masturbate, every single time I get that urge, you know, I'm still checking in with myself like, ooh, what distraction am I running from? What am I doing? But I'm also like, boom, get down and do 10 push-ups. And this is just like a trigger reaction of, instead of running towards something, it's like, no, actually, I'm just gonna do push-ups. I'm gonna reset my mind. I'm gonna get a little charge and feeling and sensation in my body, and that might be enough to stop me from going and watching porn or masturbating. As you get more familiar, you know, for the first week or month, you might be like, oh my God, I'm doing push-ups all the time. But then all of a sudden, it becomes automatic. As soon as you start to think of porn, you're like, boom, no, actually I'm replacing that with a different habit, you know? And it's so much faster. And then it becomes easy, and you've created this safety around, I have good habits in my life. I have all these things that I love to do. So I don't need to, you know, run and escape to porn or masturbation. And this is a really healthy way of living. This is something that I've really enjoyed, this shift from watching porn to now not watching porn. I don't want to shame people who watch porn. I think every once in a while, for me, it can be interesting to just kind of check up and see what kind of videos they're promoting now, you know, is it more stepmother or whatever, you know, and just kind of see and get ideas. And I do think fantasy can be a beautiful part of the sexual experience. So if you are still watching porn, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But if it is something that you are working on breaking this habit, then I hope these tips and tricks were helpful for you. If this is you, click the link in the description for my free training on how you can last as long as you want in the bedroom and pleasure any woman in ways she'll never forget. If you thought this video was of value to you, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below. Have you struggled with your porn habits? Have you been able to break this cycle and replace this negative habit with something else? What has worked for you? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section, and please feel free to suggest topics for new videos. I'm Alex Grendi from Superior Lovers, and I'll see you around.